The line outside the palace gates stretched farther than I could see. Hundreds of aliens from dozens of species waited patiently beneath the towering silver walls of the Virex Imperial Citadel. Some carried trade permits. Others had diplomatic passes. A few looked like criminals hoping to disappear into the Empire's massive capital. And then there was me, a single human standing among them, which already made me suspicious enough. The guards clearly agreed. 2 towering alien soldiers stood at the gate, their dark armor gleaming beneath the twin suns above the city. Each carried a long plasma sphere that hummed softly with dangerous energy. Every visitor stepped forward, presented identification, and passed through a glowing scanning field. Simple, orderly, efficient, until my turn arrived. I stepped forward and handed the guard my travel permit. The alien barely glanced at it before looking directly at me. His eyes narrowed. Human. His voice sounded like gravel grinding together. Yeah, I said casually. Last time I checked. The second guard leaned closer. Humans rarely visit the Virex capital. I'm here on business. What kind of business? The kind that pays well, I said. They didn't laugh. The first guard handed the permit back. This authorization is insufficient for entry into the Imperial District. I sighed. Figures. I had traveled across 3 star systems just to reach this place. And now 2 oversized lizards with spears were about to ruin the plan. I only need access to the inner market, I said. Denied. The second guard stepped forward. You will leave the district immediately. I crossed my arms. Or what? That was apparently the wrong thing to say. The guard grabbed my shoulder. Or we remove you. Before I could protest, he shoved me back from the gate. A few of the aliens waiting in line stepped away nervously. Humans had a reputation. Not always a good one. Look, I said, raising my hands. I didn't travel halfway across the galaxy just to be thrown out of a fancy city. The first guard moved closer, towering over me. You should have. He reached forward to grab me, and that's when everything changed. As he grabbed the collar of my jacket, the fabric shifted slightly. The movement exposed the side of my neck, just enough for the guard to see it. His eyes suddenly widened. His grip loosened instantly. What? The second guard noticed his reaction. What is it? The first guard slowly leaned closer. He stared at the side of my neck like he had just seen a ghost. I frowned. What? Then the second guard saw it too. And he froze. Completely. Both soldiers stepped back at the same time. The entire line of waiting visitors fell silent. The first guard lowered his spear immediately. His voice suddenly sounded very different. Apologies. I blinked. Wait, what? The second guard straightened his posture. Please forgive our mistake. The first guard gestured toward the gate. You may enter. Now, it was my turn to freeze. Just like that? Yes. 2 seconds ago you were throwing me out. That was before, he said quietly. Before what? The 2 guards exchanged a nervous glance. Then the first one spoke carefully. Before we saw the mark. My hand instinctively went to the side of my neck. The skin there felt warm. Under my fingers, I felt the faint outline of something raised. A symbol. One I had noticed years ago. One that had appeared suddenly one morning after an accident I barely remembered. A strange pattern shaped like a glowing spiral. Doctors had never been able to explain it. You mean this thing? I asked. The guards both nodded slowly. That mark belongs to the Empress. I stared at them. I'm sorry, what? The second guard spoke quietly. That symbol is the Imperial crest of the Virex bloodline. My brain struggled to process that. That's impossible. The guard shook his head. It is not. He looked around nervously. Please lower your voice. I leaned closer. Why would I have the symbol of your alien queen burned into my neck? Neither guard answered. Instead, the first one gestured toward the gate. You must enter the citadel immediately. That sounds suspicious. It is required. By who? The guard hesitated. Then he said two words that made my stomach drop. By her. The massive gates slowly opened. The guards stepped aside. I stood there for a moment, trying to decide whether I was walking into the biggest mistake of my life. Then curiosity won. It usually did. I walked through the gate. The Imperial city of Virex was unlike anything I had ever seen. Massive towers of glowing crystals stretched toward the sky. Hovering vehicles moved silently between platforms. Alien citizens filled the streets, wearing clothing and technology far beyond anything humans normally used. And every single one of them stared at me, not just because I was human, because of the mark. Word traveled fast. Within minutes, whispers spread through the streets. The marked human, he carries the symbol. Impossible. Great. I loved being the center of attention. 2 additional guards escorted me through the city. Not aggressively, more like protective bodyguards, which somehow felt even more suspicious. Eventually, we reached the center of the citadel, the Imperial Palace. The structure was enormous. A massive dome of dark metal and glowing crystal, surrounded by statues of ancient alien warriors. The guard stopped at the entrance. You will proceed alone from here. That sounds comforting. The massive doors opened automatically. Inside waited the largest room I had ever seen, the throne chamber. Hundreds of alien nobles stood along the sides of the hall. At the far end, raised high above the floor, was a throne made of dark crystal. And sitting on that throne was the most intimidating being I had ever seen, the Alien Empress. She was tall, elegant, and impossibly powerful-looking. Silver armor covered her body, shaped with flowing designs that looked almost alive. Her glowing golden eyes locked onto me instantly. The entire room went silent. I suddenly became very aware that I was the only human in the room. The Empress stood slowly. You have finally arrived. Her voice echoed across the massive chamber. I looked behind me. Nope, I said. Definitely talking to me. The nobles murmured nervously. I walked a few steps closer. Okay, I said carefully. Before we continue, I'd like to know why your guards think I belong to you. The Empress descended the steps of her throne. Every movement was calm and deliberate. You carry my mark. Yeah, about that. I rubbed the back of my neck. I woke up with this thing 5 years ago after a ship explosion. The room exploded with shocked whispers. The Empress stopped walking. Her expression changed. 5 years. Yeah. She studied me carefully. Then she whispered something very quietly. That is not possible. I frowned. Why? Because, she said slowly, I placed that mark myself. The chamber erupted into chaos. Alien nobles shouted in disbelief. Guards raised their weapons. I blinked. Okay. I feel like I would remember that. The Empress walked closer. Her glowing eyes searched my face. You truly do not remember. Remember what? She raised her hand slowly. The symbol on my neck suddenly grew warm. Pain shot through my spine. And then, memories returned. Fragments at first. A battlefield. Smoke. Alien ships falling from the sky. I saw myself in armor I had never worn before. Standing beside the Empress. Fighting. Protecting her. The memories rushed back like a tidal wave. I stumbled backward. What? The Empress caught me before I fell. You were my protector. The room went silent. A protector? She nodded. 5 years ago, During the rebellion, you saved my life." The images in my head sharpened. I remembered the moment now. An explosion. The ship crashing. The medical pod activating. Memory loss. "You erased my memory," I realized. The Empress looked guilty. "It was necessary." "Why?" "Because my enemies were searching for you." The entire court listened carefully. "You were the only human capable of synchronizing with our ancient war technology," she explained. "You became the most valuable target in the Empire. So you wiped my memory and dumped me back into space?" "Protected you," she corrected softly. I stared at her. That's one way to describe it. She touched the mark on my neck gently. "It was the only way to keep you alive." The court murmured again. I looked around the massive chamber. Alien nobles. Guards. A galactic empire. And apparently I had once been right in the middle of it. "So what now?" I asked. The Empress smiled slightly. "Now," she said, "you remember who you are." I sighed. "Yeah." Then I looked at the guards who had stopped me earlier. "They're going to feel pretty awkward now." The Empress actually laughed. "Perhaps." Then she extended her hand toward me. "Welcome home, Commander." And somehow, that word felt strangely familiar.